Oh, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Red Door Yoga Mini Sutra series online. Today I wanted to talk to you about cultivating weeds. So we are here in the Red Door Yoga small studio garden, and so it's a good analogy. What I want to say to you is, if you've done any type of gardening, you will have had to, weed every so often. I see a weed back there that I could probably go and pull out of the box. And what you may have actually gone through is, let's say, a given season where you didn't quite get around to the weeding. And so you thought, I'll get around to it next season. And what you noticed was that if you left X number of weeds this year, because you didn't quite really get around to it, then next year you had a considerable increase in that number of weeds. It would just kind of exponentially explode on you. So one season of not weeding meant massive repercussions for the following season, and it would just build on itself each season. Okay? Now, the weeds, if I asked you to define a weed, let me define it for you in this case. If you were going to define a weed, you'd usually look at it as, something that you didn't want in your garden. So I'm going to give you a kind of a pared down idea of it. A weed is anything that sucks energy away from that which you want to cultivate. So I've got, let's say, this Japanese maple right here back behind me. So if the Japanese maple is what I want to receive energy, then I want to look around its base. I want to look around the soil around it and go, are there any weeds here? Are there any other plants that are coming up through the soil in any sort of way that is sucking nutrients away from the Japanese maple? That's what I want to cultivate. Then anything underneath here that isn't actually feeding the Japanese maple, that's a weed, okay? And so it doesn't matter how beautiful the weed looks. This is important to understand because I'll tell you, I've done this in the past where I've been weeding and then I come upon a weed and it has a beautiful flower on it. And then I think, well, that's kind of pretty. I'll leave that one. Okay? And then what happens is, because I've left that weed and, a few others like it, but even if it was just that weed, I've allowed that weed to continue to draw nutrients away from the tree that I actually want to feed. And then that weed exponentially multiplies. And so leaving that one weed this season because it had a pretty flower led to me having many more weeds, all of them drawing energy out of the tree. So I go to this analogy because all of us have weeds that we're cultivating in our daily life. So if you think about it, let's say what you want to cultivate, your Japanese maple, is actually your meditation practice. So you've decided that you want to cultivate a meditation practice. But what you've been doing is cultivating weeds. These are things that draw time away from your meditation practice, such that you've decided, let's say, that you're going to practice first thing in the morning. You've decided to get up at 4 a.m. because that's when it's traditionally done, and you're not a morning person. At that point, you're cultivating a weed. By putting your practice at a time that moves against your nature, that's a weed. You're actually sucking energy away from creating a practice that requires your energy right now. It requires your focus because it's not this natural, normal thing to you yet. Okay? So when you look at your life, take a look at what it is that you want to create, what is it that you say is important to you, and then start looking and seeing, what weeds have I been cultivating? What things have I been putting into place? Relationships, responsibilities, foods, it doesn't matter what, right? What have I been engaging in that is me cultivating weeds, me growing things around the base of this thing I say is important to me, that's just sucking the energy away from this thing that I say is important to me, okay? So be a good gardener. All of us. I, by the way, no longer leave weeds that have pretty flowers on them. When I come upon them, I realize, what is it that I want? If this is not serving it, if it's taking energy, it goes. Okay? And each season, I am the more happy for it. Okay? It's wonderful being here with you, everyone. If you found this helpful, please do share the video. Please do like, comment. It's always good to hear from you. And I look forward to seeing you again online very soon. Namaste.